Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's official. After 40 long days, the government shutdown is finally coming to an end. In a surprise late-night vote, the Senate just passed a major funding bill, 60-40, and that means this thing is heading to the House for final approval before landing on President Trump's desk. 8 Senate Democrats crossed the aisle to vote yes, joining Republicans to pass a deal that could have far-reaching effects, not just for federal workers, but for anyone relying on Social Security, Medicare, or SNAP benefits. Because here's the thing, this isn't just another temporary funding bill. Quiet changes were added in the final hours, and they could directly affect your health care costs, your next Social Security check, and even when your food assistance reloads. I spent hours digging through this bill. It's officially called the Continuing Appropriations Act of 2026, so you don't have to. And I'm going to break down exactly what's inside, who this helps, who's still in a tough spot, and what you need to do right now. The new bill funds the government through January 30th of next year. So yes, this is a short-term budget that keeps things running at last year's levels, while Congress works out the bigger disagreements that caused the shutdown in the first place. But it's not just a copy and paste extension. This version includes several new provisions that were quietly added in the final round of negotiations. First, it provides full-year funding for the Department of Veterans Affairs. That means VA medical centers and benefit programs for veterans can continue without disruption through the entire fiscal year, not just until January. It also includes new money for military construction projects, Capitol Police and congressional security upgrades, and the Department of Agriculture, which manages food safety inspections and SNAP benefits. Another key section reimburses states that used their own emergency funds to keep programs like Medicaid, WIC, and food assistance running during the shutdown. So if your state went above and beyond to help, they're getting paid back. And here's a big one. It authorizes the Treasury to issue back pay to all furloughed federal workers and contractors once the government reopens. Now here's where things get interesting. This deal wasn't supposed to pass. In fact, for weeks, leaders on both sides were saying it couldn't happen without one key issue being solved: healthcare. So how did it suddenly break through? Let me rewind for a second. For over a month, the government has been paralyzed because of a fight over expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies. Democrats wanted those healthcare tax credits extended immediately. Republicans said they'd handle that later. The stalemate triggered a shutdown on October 1st, closing agencies, delaying paychecks, and freezing billions in services. But as the political pressure grew, moderates from both sides, led by Senators Jeanne Shaheen, Maggie Hassan, and Angus King, stepped in. They cut a deal with Republican Majority Leader John Thune and the White House. The compromise? Reopen the government now, then debate health care later. And this is critical. Democrats did not secure an immediate extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies, one of their main demands throughout the shutdown. Instead, they received a promise from Senate leaders to hold a vote on the issue later this year, likely in December. It's not a guarantee of passage, but it's a commitment that the healthcare fight isn't over, it's just been delayed until after the government reopens. The White House also made one major concession: a written guarantee that no more federal workers will be laid off or fired during this fiscal year, and that every furloughed employee will receive full back pay. For many families who've missed 2 pay cycles already, that's life-changing news. Now let's talk about the programs most of you are asking about, starting with Social Security. Even during the shutdown, Social Security checks continued to go out because that money is classified as mandatory spending. But the smaller field offices, the ones where people file new applications, fix benefit errors, or appeal decisions, have been short-staffed or closed entirely. With this bill passing, those offices will fully reopen, staff will return, and processing delays will begin to clear up. That means if you've been waiting on a benefit adjustment or replacement card, help should come much sooner now that funding is back in place. For Medicare and Medicaid, the story is similar. Hospital reimbursements and prescription coverage have continued, but the behind-the-scenes work, billing corrections, provider approvals, claim disputes, slowed dramatically during the shutdown. The new funding bill restarts those administrative operations so providers can be paid on time, and patients won't have to deal with backlog-related errors. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, which operates on federal appropriations for much of its staff, can now resume full operations. And then there's SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, better known as food stamps. This has been one of the hardest-hit programs during the shutdown. The Department of Agriculture had warned that states were running out of emergency reserves and that benefit reloads could be delayed or reduced. Now, with this bill passed, funding for SNAP is officially restored through January, meaning the next round of payments should go out normally. That's crucial for the 40 million Americans who rely on it, especially seniors and families living on tight budgets. All right, so where do we go from here? The bill now heads to the House, where Speaker Mike Johnson faces a narrow majority and vocal opposition from Democrats who still want a firm guarantee on health care subsidies. If the House agrees and passes it quickly, the government could be fully reopened within days. If not, we may see another round of negotiations next week. Either way, this Senate vote marks the biggest step toward reopening the country since the shutdown began. So what do you need to do right now? If you're on SNAP, your next round of payments should go out normally. Keep checking your EBT card and watch for updates from your state. If you had issues this month, things should stabilize going forward, at least through January. If you're waiting on Social Security, those field offices are reopening. If you've been trying to fix a benefit error, file an application, or appeal a decision, now's the time to follow up. Staff will be back, and that backlog should start clearing. If you're on Medicare or Medicaid, the administrative side is ramping back up. If you've had billing issues or claim disputes, those should start getting resolved. Providers will get paid on time again, which means fewer headaches for you. If you're a federal worker, back pay is coming. Every furloughed employee is guaranteed full compensation for the time you missed. And there's a written promise: no more layoffs or firings this fiscal year. If you buy Marketplace health insurance, pay attention. That December vote on healthcare subsidies is coming. If those subsidies don't get extended, your insurance costs could go up significantly in 2026. Open enrollment is happening right now, so don't miss your window. Let me zoom out for a second. 40 days. The longest government shutdown in U.S. history. And who paid the price? Not the politicians who still got their paychecks. It was seniors waiting for Social Security help, federal workers missing mortgage payments, moms stretching food budgets, veterans trying to access care. And here's the scary part. This bill only funds the government until January 30th. We could be right back here in less than 3 months. That's why staying informed matters. That's why this channel exists. Because you deserve to know what's happening before it affects your family. But here's what I want you to remember. You made it through 40 days of chaos. Whether you figured out how to stretch your benefits, found emergency resources, or just kept showing up, that's resilience. And whether you're a senior, a veteran, a federal worker, a single parent, or someone living on a fixed income, you deserve better than this. You deserve stability. For seniors, veterans, and families on fixed incomes, this vote means reopened offices, on-time payments, and renewed stability, even if only for a few months. So as Washington celebrates its late-night breakthrough, the real relief is happening far from the Capitol, in kitchens, pharmacies, and grocery stores, where millions of Americans can finally stop wondering whether the programs they rely on will still be there tomorrow. All right, that's what you need to know about the Senate's deal to end the shutdown. If this video helped you understand what's happening, please give it a thumbs up so more people can find it. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you're notified the second I post updates about what happens in the House and that December healthcare vote. Check out the description below. I've got links to resources about SNAP benefits, Social Security offices, Medicare enrollment, and everything else we talked about today. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you think this deal was worth the wait, or did Congress just delay another shutdown down the road? How has this affected you? I read every comment, and your stories matter. Also, if you haven't already, check out my other videos on navigating benefit delays and emergency resources. I'll link those in the cards above. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, you've got this. We've got this. Together. I'll see you in the next video with more updates as this moves through the House. Take care of yourselves and each other.